Welcome to HRO Today's Leaders of Distinction, a podcast that brings you inside the minds of HR's game changers. I'm Amanda Cupido. HRO Today is known for celebrating achievements of HR, which is why we are joined by two award winners, Terilyn Monroe and Dan Chappell. Terilyn Monroe is the Chief People Officer at Guardiant Health. She is the winner of CHRO of the Year, the Lifetime Achievement Award, and is known for her expertise in aligning global business growth, culture, and talent strategies. She is a trusted business partner and advisor with deep human resources, communications, M&A, and diversity and inclusion experience. Terilyn has worked in both public and private companies across multiple industries, including software, healthcare, and manufacturing. Terilyn is a partner who starts by asking, what are we solving for and why? Thank you so much for joining me today, Terilyn.
Thanks so much, Amanda. Looking forward to today's discussion.
And next up, we have Dan Chappell, the EVP and CHRO at Seacoast Bank, who is the award recipient of CHRO of the Year for Sustainable Workforce. He is highly regarded for leading the Seacoast team through 16 mergers and acquisitions and creating an atmosphere where employees can bring their whole selves to work. Dan joined Seacoast after 10 years with Bank of America and throughout the course of his career led on several lines of business, including technology and operations, wealth management, and consumer customer service. Dan is also a champion of DEI initiatives and has served on the Enterprise Diversity and Inclusion Senior Executive Forum. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be here, and congratulations on your initial podcast here.
Thanks for being along for the ride. Let's dive right in to the conversation. So, first off, we just talked about these awards you've both received. What does that mean to be recognized? I think sometimes we go through our work lives putting our head down and one foot in front of another, and it's nice to take a moment to reflect back on all that you've accomplished and heck, get awarded for it. So, Terilyn, why don't you start us off? What does it feel like to get the announcement of this award?
Well, a few things. First of all, it didn't really set in. First of all, lifetime achievement. I thought, oh my gosh, have I been working in this space that long that it's actually lifetime achievement? Holy cow. Because I still feel like I still have so much more to learn. But I think that the biggest takeaway for me as I was reflecting on this was that I just feel so honored to have been able to work with so many bright, talented people throughout my career. And it's really our team's achievements. And so while this is an individual award, I actually feel like it's one that is a team award at the end of the day, because our teams are the ones who are helping us create great experiences for our employees. Our teams are the ones who are helping us drive growth, accelerate change, and who are really helping us transform our businesses and being there to be partners with employees and leaders at all levels of the organization, helping us scale. So I feel like this is a team award more than an individual one, and just very honored and appreciate the way HRO Today actually manages these awards, where the nomination came from my team, but then you have past award winners who are actually looking at the nominees and then making some decisions from there. So I think that's what makes it even much more special for me.
I love that. And, I know in your acceptance speech, you talked a lot about that teamwork and how it's so imperative. We're going to talk more about your team in a bit. But first, I want to hear from Dan. What does it mean to win this award?
Well, first of all, it's humbling. I don't think anyone goes into HR, human resources, for the accolades. In many cases, we're the ones kind of building the platforms for recognition of other associates or employees across our organizations. But like Terilyn said, to have an award that is actually voted on by our peers in HR makes it really special. Really special to me to be recognized for something that I love to do, something I enjoy doing. I was speaking to a group of associates this morning in orientation, and they were asking me, how do you still do it? I said, well, I still enjoy kicking off the covers in the morning and singing in the shower. And until I don't, I'll continue doing what I'm doing. Also agree of the team aspect of the award. Really, the success of any team is really kind of a reflection of all the sum of its parts functioning on all cylinders. If I'm I'm mixing a bunch of metaphors here, and if it's being surrounded by a group of teammates that share the energy and passion that I do, for associate engagement, for diversity and inclusion, for kind of all things making an inclusive, engaged workplace, really is what it's all about. And it really is, can't be gained, or success can't be gained without kind of an effective team that's fully functioning and healthy and as excited as pumped up as I am. So it was great. It was really good. It was a good feeling, and I felt like I was bringing it back to my team versus something that'll sit in the shelf in my office.
I love that you both are talking so much about your team. And Dan, I know in your acceptance speech, you actually talk about having had the same team for over 10 years. So clearly your employee retention is great and there's a lot to learn from you. So why don't we talk about this team a little bit more and hear from both of you about what it looks like to build a team that not only would be, so motivated to nominate you both, but where you feel like the award is actually for everyone and not just you. Talk about those team dynamics and how you set that tone.
I think for me, it was, you referenced 16 acquisitions. Well, we've had explosive growth since I started with the bank. In fact, 16 is now 18.
Wow.
We've announced 2 more acquisitions in the last 6 months, or since the nominations came in. And the most recent one, we're actually acquiring an organization that is the size of Seacoast when I started 11 years ago.
Wow.
So it's really kind of interesting to kind of sit back and look at the folks that have been with me in this journey over 10 years and realize that they all started in different roles with very small kind of focused roles, and have been able to grow with the organization. The organization hasn't outgrown them. They've continued to take on new challenges. There isn't really a rule book or a guidebook on how to do this and how to triple in size over a 10-year period. Actually 4 times our size now. And it's been gratifying, not just to kind of help them learn, but kind of creating an atmosphere where they can learn among themselves. It's almost like a mini community of practice where the trust and teamwork is such that no one is intimidated to raise their hand and say, I need help here. What do you guys think? What do you ladies think? How should we approach this? And I've had to do that a lot as well. And now I lead a team that's been with me for 10 years. Many of them are more qualified than me on many levels. So it's been quite a journey for us.
Well, it's nice. It sounds like you're role modeling that, which really sets a tone to open up and create that safe space for them. So well done. Terilyn, what about you?
Oh, gosh. I love the question. I was telling someone the other day, because I've been doing quite a bit of recruiting here at Guardiant for my leadership team. I really came in to help evolve our organization because we're at this incredible inflection point as a company. We're a biotech company, and we are doing things that no other company has done before, such as screening cancer using blood drops. It's amazing. And I was telling someone the other day when they asked, what do you really look for? And yes, we can say, there's what's in the job spec. But at the end of the day, it kind of boils down to 3 simple things for me. One is I look for individuals with just deep subject matter expertise and a proven track record. And those are the table stakes. But then I look for 2 other things that are equally important in my book. And the second one is around collaboration, because I truly believe that we're part of an ecosystem. And it's really important in our world that we work together and we really think about what's happening upstream, what's happening downstream, how do we work together to get the right outcome. And that ecosystem approach, that collaborative approach, is really critical for us to be able to do what we want to do. And the third thing I look for is just folks who are really kind, fun to be around. And so when you put those 3 things together, it makes not only a very talented team, folks with very different backgrounds, but also a really great team to be a part of where you do get excited to come to work, to solve problems together. And everyone's moving in the same direction and really focused in on how can we make, in our case, Guardiant Health the best place to work for our employees. So I would say it's those three things that I look for. I've had the opportunity at Guardiant to rebuild my team because we shifted our strategy. And I was able to look back on those folks over the last several years that I've had an opportunity to either work with or who I've seen from another place in my organization in past companies and say, ooh, I'd love to partner with them in some way someday, be able to bring them in. And also just super excited because a lot of my favorite folks that I've worked with in the past have gone on to become heads of HR in other companies too. So while I still connect with them as we brainstorm things and benchmark with one another, excited to see how they've grown their careers and have moved on to other areas.
That's so nice. And I feel like that's really special to see people that you've worked with become leaders in their own right and rise up the ranks and, have that ripple effect continue and hopefully be role modeling to their teams the same way you both have. And I love that you put an emphasis on kindness. I think sometimes we just have to get down to the basics, right? And kindness can sometimes be underrated. It's so important, especially in today's world. I'm going to shift gears a little bit to talk about inspiration. And Terilyn, another nod to you in your acceptance speech where you said that inspiration is actually your favorite word in the English language. So tell me a little bit about what inspires you, what keeps you going, and what are you excited about as you go back to work after receiving this award?
Yeah, thanks. Inspiration, it is my favorite word, and I share that with my teams all the time because I think part of our role, especially because we're in the business of people, it is important to get inspiration from all the people that we serve, all the people that we partner with, all of our employees around the globe. Get inspired from them. So that's one thing. But I also think it's important to get inspiration from the outside, right? In the world around us, in the environment that we live in our local communities, but also outside of the US, in other countries. There's so many amazing things that happen that we can learn from. And I feel like when we're inspired, we actually have that growth mindset and we're going to be curious and we're going to learn and grow. On the flip side of that, I think it's also important that we ourselves find opportunities to inspire others, to inspire other people to try things that maybe they didn't think that they could do, or inspire people to solve a problem in some new way, or inspire people to try something. So inspiration works both ways, to get inspired, but also be inspiring.
How inspiring that is to hear. Deanne, what about you? What inspires you?
You know what I was as Terilyn was thinking, I was kind of reflecting on what does actually inspire me, and I'll talk about two things around inspiration. First, it's I continue to derive energy and inspiration from the people that I work with. I work with an incredible group of associates and teammates, and when I say that, it's not just within the HR suite, it's really across the line of business. I work with some incredibly bright, collaborative, engaging, smart, and caring and kind people, to use Terilyn's word as well. And that gives me kind of a sense of inspiration, a sense of charging up, a sense of wanting to scale and do things, to make sure the organization is nurturing those things in the culture and working to scale it. I think the other source of inspiration I kind of draw on really comes in from my roots and from my past, and having come out actually, as a gay man late in my career, relatively late in my career, maybe at the halfway point. The other inspiration that I have, and it's maybe a more driving force than an inspiration, is to make sure, and you heard the words in the introduction that you shared, that we are creating an organization where everyone feels like they belong, regardless of where they work. that they have a sense of belonging. They have a sense of feeling like they're part of the team, and that's really kind of the basis of the philosophy of engaging to bring your whole selves to work. Because there was a point in my career where I felt like I had to hide some things, that it wouldn't be accepted. So the kind of the inspiration for me, that my internal kind of compass, if you will, of inspiration really comes from that personal experience of making sure that there are no impediments systemically in our organization that kind of block a sense of belonging, that block a sense of the ability and the freedom and the to bring your whole self to work. So kind of aligned with Terilyn in terms of the sense of inspiration. But I think it's important that we share our inspiration and what inspires us, because it does have kind of a cascading effect, or a snowballing effect, if you will, in really kind of creating a healthier and more engaging workforce.
And as you look ahead, and we talk about this snowballing effect and the goals for creating certain types of workforces, what do you foresee as the next trend or phase that HR professionals should be looking ahead to? Where should they be setting their sights on when we think about the future of the industry?
The easy answer is AI, because that's what everyone's talking about, right? In harnessing the power of AI to create, and it's really a balance. We have human in our title, or people in our title, and embracing AI, which is kind of artificial intelligence. It's artificial people, if you will, and really kind of embracing that, but making sure that it doesn't kind of hamper or undermine a sense of humanness and a sense of individuality in the workplace. So it really goes back to me for that, to that, preserving the humanity in the workplace as we look at artificial ways to kind of enhance competitiveness and efficiency.
Yeah, just to build on that, Dan. Yeah, everything AI is around us. I mean, you cannot go onto LinkedIn without seeing it. Some tip, trick article about AI, and it's almost overwhelming, I think, for people, which puts us in a real interesting place once again as HR leaders, because just like with COVID, when there was a lot of activity happening around COVID, a lot of decisions that had to get made around COVID, a lot of unknowns because of COVID in the early days especially, and we had to figure out how can we kind of be the calm throughout this storm of information that's coming our way, and how do we actually make the best possible decisions with the information that we have at the time. And that's why I do go back to, and I often get teased too about that question of what is it that we're solving for and why? Because at the end of the day, AI is a tool and it can help us, but we're not solving for AI at the end of the day. We're really trying to figure out what is our business strategy? What is our vision of what success looks like? And how do we then leverage AI to accelerate that, to enhance it, to actually help our employees be the best that they can be? Because maybe AI can help them so that we don't keep folks feeling like they're burning out, because AI can help us take on some of those tasks that are weighing them down, where they can't spend time on being as creative as they want to be, because instead they're working on some of the other, more detailed manual things. And that's one of the reasons why, as we look at this new era that we're in right now of technology, which is very exciting, I do think there's a huge culture and talent component to it. And we have a responsibility and an opportunity to really upskill our talent and help everyone understand not only the power of AI, but how can they use it within their own world, within their own jobs, so they're not left behind. I also think that we have an opportunity to unpack and really work with our IT groups, our CIOs, to understand what are those tools that make sense, that are right for the jobs that we have in our organizations, because there's so many out there that it's almost overwhelming for folks. I feel like there's a new tool, AI tool, that's coming out every day. And then the third leg of that stool that I see is, there's a governance piece. And so how do we unlock the potential of AI with guardrails and guiding principles and not have a ton of constraints, but have enough guardrails so that we keep everyone in our organizations and the data we have and the information that we have and the IP that we have safe and secure. So I look at it that way. I think it's a real interesting time, super exciting. It'll be interesting to see where we are even a year from now, because I think it's going to look very different than where we are today.
I agree, but for now, I'll just say that this podcast is 100% human. So thank you so much for joining me live, Terilyn and Dan. It was a pleasure having you both on the show today. And thank you for tuning in and listening. This podcast is produced by Lead Podcasting. I am Amanda Cupido. Special thanks to Elliot Clark and Debbie Bola of Share Expertise Media. And for more information about HRO Today's digital magazines, research, e-newsletters, events, and social networks, visit hrotoday.com. This is award-winning content you need to check out. Bye for now.